This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imnct.com for more information. Hey everybody, we are back with Behind the Video, episode number 31, continuing on our climb of numbers. And joining us today is our co-host, it's Goldie Chan. Hey Goldie.
Hey.
And where are you hailing from today?
Today I'm hailing from the Bay Area, which is not, sadly, Portland, where I was last week. But yeah, today it is a little gloomy outside. I'm a little sad, but hopefully it'll get better.
Well, here it is somewhat sunny and freezing cold, so be grateful. We also have Tim Street from Los Angeles, California. How you doing, Tim?
Doing well. I'm playing around with my lower third right now. Let's see. I'm turning it off.
Tim, I see that you're playing around with something else. The lower third.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, that's true. I have a little goat working on my chin these days. I'm just goofing around with it.
Every week we have different facial hair to admire.
There you go.
It's a little different style every week, so it's been
all
good.
part of Brovember.
That's right, Brovember. So, well, we're recovering from Thanksgiving because we were all busy celebrating that. So it was probably a slow week out in the broadcast world, but nevertheless, we do have some broadcast news to talk about. NCIS had the number 5 spot, lost the LA version on CBS at 15 million viewers. Saturday Night Football on ABC garnered 16 million viewers. NCIS on CBS was number 3, and that seems to be the show to watch these days. I mean, are they going to make another spin-off, Tim, or are they going to just let this one go for a while?
Absolutely. There's a new one called NCIS Poughkeepsie. And it's about some kids who break into the school science lab and figure out all the bad things that are going on in Poughkeepsie.
Is there claymation involved in this one,
yes,
Tim?
Absolutely.
Good.
Lots of claymation. And they can't, since they're kids, they can't afford the cool special effects that
of course not.
they do on regular NCSI. And so they do it with claymation. Yep.
Well, hey, if whatever works, they're making money, so that is worth it there. NBC had an NFL special, and that had 19 million viewers. That was on Thursday of last. That was Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving Day game. So how could I be so foolish not to know that? And then Sunday Night Football on Sunday after Thanksgiving actually had more viewers than the Thanksgiving one did. So apparently there were a few families that don't have the traditional Thanksgiving football game to watch. So
yeah, they went to the traditional movie after Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
Very interesting. So we have some news though related to television. And did you hear about the 2.5 Men star?
The one that found religion and then recanted?
Yes. So Tim, why don't you tell us what happened there?
Well, the actor Angus T. Jones, the kid from 2.5 Men, the half man. Wow, that's really scary when you think of it in Hollywood terms. But anyway, he did a YouTube rant about how if you were a person who believed in certain deities that you would not watch a crappy show like, he didn't use the word crappy, but you would not watch a terrible show like 2.5 Men. And he basically really, really slammed 2.5 Men, saying that it's not a good show to watch, and if you had faith, you wouldn't be watching that show because it was just and he got in a little bit of trouble, and then he later apologized for it.
So yeah, he called it filth, I think was what it was,
yeah.
And there was like some pastor or something that he's been
filling your head with filth.
With filth, and that was Reuters reported on this, but everyone else did as well. Did you see the YouTube video, Goldie? He was in his trailer with this this internet guy who does preaching. Did you see this?
And shaved his head.
Yeah.
I just find it a little nutty, but to each their own, and you probably don't want to preach against the person that pays your bills.
And apparently he pays a lot a lot of bills that get paid with that from that show. It's just funny that this comedy show has so much drama associated with it. So it's really quite the train wreck in progress. So, but here's something. And Tim, you have some connection to this. Or I think you know somebody related to this. Sci-Fi Channel. I think Goldie, you're going to love this one. Sci-Fi Channel. Do you guys remember BattleBots?
Yeah.
Goldie, do you ever watch BattleBots?
Sounds really familiar, though.
Okay, so BattleBots was on like 10 years ago. So they had, I used to love this show. So they had this thing where you could, where these guys and gals would build these little robots with wheels that would beat the crap out of each other.
Oh, yeah, I've totally
that?
seen this before.
They had like buzzsaws on them and everything else. So now there's a new version coming out, which consists of 8-foot tall human-looking robots. Like they have arms and legs. They're like half a ton apiece. And this new sci-fi show, they're going to beat the crap out of each other. And it's called Robot Combat League. And it's going to have robot-on-robot tournament-style showdowns. And it will be hosted by former WWE wrestler Chris Jericho. It looks really cool.
Wow.
So, Tim, have you seen these robots yet?
You know what? I haven't seen anything. I go to some different functions, and some friends of mine, the Elizaldes, they were nominated for an Academy Award for Hellboy 2. They did the special effects makeup for Hellboy 2, and they've worked on a lot of Del Toro movies, and they told me they were working on this sci-fi robot show, and it was like, it just sounded really, really cool. So I don't know if they totally built the robots or just built part of the robots or built, I haven't talked to them specifically about what they worked on it, but they said it is cool.
And this is going to be like one of those huge tie-ins with online video and the cable show too. It's going to be, this is going to be something to watch. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I wish I knew how to build a robot that could do that.
If they could only make a video game faster, like this one would be perfect, like to have the video game go along with it.
That would be something to watch. So, man.
Well, Tim, time to jump into that suit and just kind of go at it.
There you go.
I mean, this is the thing. It's going to be neat to see how they control all these things. And, this has the potential to be like a Mythbusters level thing where you have a really engaged audience that becomes, almost the producer, the associate producer of the show and kind of driving the content. So we'll have to see how that develops. And speaking of cable, we didn't have these in our show notes here, but a quick rundown of the top 5 on cable this week. Sons of Anarchy, which was on from 10 to 11:30 p.m. on FX, was number 5 at 4.2 million viewers. Gold Rush on Discovery, 4.6 million viewers. I think that's about finding gold somewhere.
That's good. You better find it quick.
You got to find it before it disappears. iCarly Goodbye. I guess this is the last iCarly.
Poor iCarly.
You know anything about this, Goldie? You seem to have answered quickly on iCarly going goodbye.
Oh, yes, I know all about these teen shows. But yeah, the main actress, I think, is transitioning away from this to actually move into music, and so she's moving away from this format where in this TV show, she hosts a fake podcast.
Oh.
With her older brother, and so they've had this show called iCarly that they host in their basement, of course, with state of the art equipment and but it they show them like filming it on a shaky camera, but that's not at all true.
Yeah.
Do they have a crew?
Well, they're the crew. It's her best friend, and then they have a kid that is kind of like in love with both of them, depending on which day of the week it is. That helps them out. He's their cameraman. And then there's another kid, Kibby, I think his name is, that takes his shirt off all the time. And he's a little bit flabby, and it's kind of funny when he does it.
I'm really impressed with your knowledge of this show. So
Absolutely. Dan Schneider, who's the executive producer, I used to work with him on a Nickelodeon show called All That.
All That and More.
All That. It was like a Saturday Night Live for kids.
I remember All That. That was a great show.
It was a fun show.
Yeah.
That is cool. So that's the end of iCarly. So iCarly becomes, it's funny, all these cable television stars, either they start as a music star and become a cable TV star or vice versa, but you have to be able to sing and act. So
yeah.
Well, that's how Disney and Nickelodeon make their money these days.
just build these brands up, right?
They build the brands. They own them all.
Yep, they own them, even the names to some degree, right? Hannah Montana and all that kind of stuff. So, number 2, though, is in the opposite direction, is The Walking Dead. My favorite show on cable right now is The Walking Dead. Dexter is a close second, but Walking Dead has been great this season. 10.4 million viewers, by the way. So
that's big. That's really
huge.
big for cable. That's big.
It's almost football numbers, and that's what ESPN was able to grab on Monday night with their NFL regular season game at 12.4 million views.
So what you need is football and The Walking Dead, and just conversions.
If you could have the zombies play football, that would be great.
It's interesting. What we should do is compare these cable numbers to YouTube video views numbers.
We should do that. We should do that.
We should. That's what we should start doing. Like, I wonder if there's a chart where we can see, like in a 24-hour period, how many views. Like, is there that type of tracking?
You know what?
There's a cumulative of views, because this would be really interesting to track how YouTube videos are doing and then report them compared to TV shows.
Let's ask Jason, our producer, Jason Perrier, to see if he can help us compile that.
Jason,
that would be
can you
interesting.
Get on that?
So,
he says he will.
Good. See, that's how it works on this show. We have a crew too. But yeah, we'll check with Jason and see if we can figure that out, because I think that would be interesting to see if YouTube has a commensurate audience number as cable does, and I would argue probably does. And the question is, what's the demographic within that?
Yeah, I wish there was a YouTube party last night and I didn't go. That would have been a good
Naughty Tim.
ask. Yeah,
there's lots of. You guys have all sorts of parties out there in California.
It's LA, man.
We'll tell you, we're hunkered down here for winter. We're not leaving our houses.
Well, I will say that I did see Les Mis over at Lucasfilms, and I saw it early, and it was wonderful. It was great. Yeah.
Were you at the Presidio or up at Skywalker?
Presidio for this one.
Cool.
I missed the showing of Anna Karina that they had at Skywalker, which would have been very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool up there.
Yeah.
So speaking of movies, we have some movies that opened up this week. Life of Pi opened up. Did you all see that yet? It looks quite visual.
Didn't, but I've heard that it's more than just a guy in a boat with a tiger, because that's my impression from the trailer.
Right, yeah, because I was thinking
the guy in a boat with a tiger for 2 hours. I don't want to see that. But
like a mix of Castaway and the Bachelor, right?
On a boat.
On a boat
with the tiger.
Right.
Yeah.
No volleyball.
But it's not. Apparently, it is a beautiful film. So.
Well, that is cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think that might be a rental for me, because
I'm waiting for the screener to come in.
Yeah.
My screeners have started arriving, like Rise of the Guardians. I need to watch that.
I watched that one. My screener came already for it. It was very cute. But I'm going to say pretty much any animated feature is great.
And this is Rise of the Guardians is like a Christmas movie, right? But it's a little edgier.
It has a lot of different holidays that are in the same movie, but the head good guy, I guess, is the Christmas guy, is Santa Claus and Jack Frost. So
there you go.
Interesting. So that is worth looking at. Now let me ask you a question real quick about
what did that make? That did like
32 million so far.
Yeah, but 23 over the weekend.
That's right. Yep, the weekend was 23.8. So, and it's funny. There was a lot of money to go around this weekend, because all of these are double-digit weekends. I guess it's Thanksgiving. I don't know if they count the 2 days before or not.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Okay, so but people are not working, so they're taking their hard-earned money to the box office. Lincoln, number 3 had 25.7 million, 62 so far since it started out. Skyfall, 221 million. So that seems like the 200 million plus club now makes you a blockbuster, right? So 35 million this weekend, and something I know nothing about, the Twilight Saga, which everyone apparently is gushing over.
Well, it's the last one. It's the last one, Lon. You don't have to worry, man.
Good, so it's over.
It's over. Okay, don't worry about it. Just put it out of your pretty little head.
This chapter's out of my mind. 43.6 million.
Hey, get your shirt back on, man. Cut that out.
So now let me ask you. So did you get like screeners of the Twilight Saga, or they know it's just not going to win an award, so they don't bother?
I didn't. Did you, Tim?
Yeah, no, I have I've got about 20 so far, and Twilight is not one of them. But I would think that it would be nominated for music or special effects. Those would be my guesses, but or at least they would be wanting you to nominate it for those.
I see. And do the screeners, are they DVDs or are they Blu-rays now?
They are DVDs, although I think some of them may come with a Blu-ray option.
I see. So that is a good little factoid to know, as I don't get screeners because I have to figure out how to...
you should join Producers
something.
Guild.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll join the
There you
guild,
go.
and then I can get. That's a good way to get some movies there. So the upcoming movies this week, and on them this is the IMDb opening this week list, and now I think there was an error in our thing here because it said craptastic, and I'm looking on the site here, and it says Addicted to Fame is actually on the way up there. Do you have a clarification there for me, Tim?
No.
Okay. I see what happened here. This movie was originally called Craptastic, and now it's called Addicted to Fame.
Okay, because I would think that the marketing people had some trouble with Craptastic.
Yeah, might
You
be
want to
hard
watch
to
this
sell.
movie? It's craptastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe they knew it was a crappy movie.
Yeah, well, you just imagine they're talking about it on CNN, right?
Yep.
Which is better? Today, Addicted to Fame. Today, Craptastic. I mean, which one are they more likely to talk about? I think Addicted to Fame is a really good title.
And this movie is a documentary, by the way, and it goes behind the scenes of Anna Nicole Smith's last movie. So it might be a better thing there. The movie poster has
do you think she took illegal drugs?
I'm sure. And
Really?
if not, she took legal drugs illegally. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, that would make them illegal. So.
Yeah. So it's all about how you look at it. But
and her lawyer, boyfriend, husband, whatever, is still in jail.
I think so.
Stern. Howard
Right,
K. Stern.
Right, not the Howard Stern on the radio, a different Howard
No.
Stern, right? And the movie poster is hysterical. It's got a picture of the producer, the director, and then a picture of her with the title "Disaster" underneath it. So this is a train wreck, and it's going to be delivered for you to watch, and it's on next week. So check it out if you're into train wrecks. So let's talk Star Wars for a minute. They are like brilliantly building up the hype for this thing, and it better live up to it, right? So we talked about how they sold Star Wars and yada yada yada, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep.
So they've got writers now. Oscar winner. This is according to Hollywood Reporter. Oscar winner Michael Arndt, who wrote Little Miss Sunshine, has written a 40 to 50 page treatment for the new trilogy. And we'll be writing the script for episode 7, and there's still a lot of buzz over directors and that kind of thing. So are they going to try to do this right?
You heard about it? It's called Little Miss Jar Jar Binks. It's going to be awesome.
Just run it into the ground. So
We're going to be in a beauty contest.
So are they? I mean, this is dangerous, right? I mean, they're building up so much hype or is it unavoidable to build up hype for a Star Wars movie?
Here's the problem that I see, and this is just me being cynical, Tim. Let me put on my cynical Tim hat. Disney is really, really good at building momentum for kids' movies, but when they try to build momentum for science fiction movies, John Carter, anyone? John Carter? It doesn't work. And so that's the biggest challenge here, is that Disney is really, really good at marketing to families and kids. Marketing to fanboys is a whole different thing. You got to play it cool. And you can't say it's cool. You got to make it feel cool without saying it's cool. So I don't know. This one is definitely going to get a lot of buzz, but I think it's going to be bad buzz.
Yeah, because this is the problem, is that us fanboys have, and even those who are mildly fans, the kids that grew up with this thing, that I don't dress up as a stormtrooper and go to the conventions and stuff. I would love a stormtrooper outfit, Goldie. Can you get me one?
Amazon.
I'll get on it. I'll get on my little knitting machine and I'll knit you a stormtrooper outfit, Lon.
That would be
a
cool.
Good boy this Christmas.
Could you imagine that? Hand knit stormtrooper costume.
I will host this show every week with that thing if you make that for me. So
hey, Goldie,
imagine
would you make it out of beer cans?
Snuggie. What?
You could make it out of beer cans. You know how people punch the holes in the beer cans
true.
and then knit them together?
I imagine it'd be kind of hard on the skin, sort of just pieces of sharp metal. But what you do for the love
if you're a real stormtrooper,
you will bleed for that. You got to suffer for the force.
And then you'd be warm too because it would be knit, right?
So,
although the metal might.
I will say it was really cute because I was at Lucasfilms right when it's Christmas season, so they have the big Christmas tree and they have a menorah. But I was there a little early for the showing, and there were a couple parents that kind of filtered in and out with their kids, and they were reading them Star Wars Christmas stories.
Oh my God!
That they had like little picture books around the place. So I heard some strange Christmas stories.
There was a Star, and this is like the worst thing ever, and it's on YouTube, by the way, so you can watch this. The Star Wars Christmas special from like 1977 or 78. It is horrific.
Oh yeah, that one, Lucas has tried so hard to bury that, but it's basically like, imagine if you took the production team behind Donnie and Marie, the TV show, and had them do a Star Wars Christmas special. That's kind of what the production value is like.
I think even has Princess Leia singing, so so that is a little scary. But speaking of YouTube, topping it this week, what beats that is the ogling cheerleader kid at the Hawks and Wizards game.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't either, and I should have watched it before the show. But apparently, okay, so there's a woman handing out candy, and I think she's a cheerleader, and that was it. So I don't know what the problem is there, but apparently that was interesting enough to 3.6 million people to watch a cheerleader hand out candy.
More than the NFL, or no, only 3.6. So
yeah, it's up there in like number 5 territory for cable. But
there you go.
X Factor USA. I was watching that last night, as a matter of fact. My wife was, so I had to watch it too.
Yeah, is that a good show? You like that show?
It's okay. I like Simon Cowell.
Heartwarming?
It can be when they have good talent on there. I hate how they take people on these shows and totally exploit their horrific lack of talent and their belief that they have talent. But
Honey. What is it? Honey Boo
Boo.
One of those things.
Boo Boo.
That family. Honey Boo Boo.
I like to feel good about reality TV. I don't like the fact that we entertain sometimes by putting others down in the way.
You're just saying that because you got a forklift foot.
That's probably the problem too. I have no ability or desire to be.
I actually just read an article about reality television in China, which sounds like a hilarious misnomer, regardless. But they now have dating shows that are copying the dating shows they have in the U.S. And apparently, one of the girls went on the show and she said, you need to be making a lot. I would rather cry in the back of a BMW than smile with you on the back of your bike. And so then the Chinese government stepped in because there's a huge backlash that said, this girl's so materialistic. So they actually stepped in and they said, you may no longer say materialistic things on reality shows, which I find so hilarious. What else are they going to say on dating shows now?
Or else, right?
Or else,
right?
Your affection is unappealing to me.
Exactly.
So, well, apparently number 4 was a scene from the X Factor. Carly Rose Sonenklar, who does something, I don't know. I didn't find it all that interesting, but 3.8 million people did. Here's one I did find interesting, just because I'm doing some video news here in Connecticut. Two main, this is Maine, the state, main actors on a main television anchors on a main television news station, all both resigned on the air over disputes with their management, and one of them is actually a Connecticut native, Tony Consiglio, but they resigned over some management disputes, and it had a lot of talk out there in the press, and that video was embedded in a lot of print stories that were online, so that had 5 million views. some Spanish video, Menina Fantasma no Elevadoro or whatever. 7.2 million views. So, there's an international audience here. So I don't know. That was up there. And then a Black Friday employee prank is number one, and it's up to 8.1 million views. And the plan is that they were going to dress as employees from a store, act like a worker at that store, and then troll the customers. So I am sure that if you are the manager of this store, you would love these people coming in dressed as Target employees who just berate your customers. And
nice.
This is probably one of those borderline criminal activities, but
yeah,
they got 8.1 million
pretty sure that's
views
probably
on it.
actually a criminal.
Yeah. Greg Benson, who does Mediocre Films, you should check out his channel on YouTube. His wife also produces The Guild, but Greg will do these fun shopping lists where last year at Christmas they went in and he'll take a friend with him, and they each write shopping lists that are made up things, and then they can't see that list ahead of time, and they trade lists. So they're holding a list that they haven't seen, and they have to go up to a store employee and ask for these items without laughing. And they are just great. I remember last year one of the episodes he's in Target and he's asking for daddy butter. It's like, what is daddy butter?
That is
great. Yeah, it's great. And so Mediocre Films on YouTube, check it out.
I will check that out. That looks pretty funny. There was another group, I forgot what they were, an improv group out of New York City, but they do really fun stuff. Like they had and it's harmless stuff. Like they had Darth Vader and some stormtroopers escorting Princess Leia on the subway. They smartly left their blasters at home. Just
nice.
Our Star Wars thing, by the way. You don't want to walk around the subway with fake guns.
Especially not in New York.
Not in New York.
Not in New York. And then Darth Vader is like at the, they're performance artists, and they do some really great stuff. So look for that, and you can find that on there. So here's an interesting story because, you can make your 15 minutes of fame and decide what you do with it. And you've all seen the overly attached girlfriend. They turn into a meme on YouTube. This girl with wide eyes, starts lip syncing Justin Bieber's song, one of Justin Bieber's song called "Boyfriend," and she looks like that crazy girlfriend that some of us have experienced in life at times. I haven't, but others have.
You'll have to tell us about yours, Lon. I know you're holding out.
I will say that thankfully I've never had this problem, but I've lived a very uneventful life. But this woman's name is Lena. She doesn't want people to know her last name, but I'm sure we could find it on there somewhere. But
it's Lois.
Lois Lane.
Lena Lois.
Right. So she does this video with just like a cheap webcam lip syncing some song, I think in her dorm room or something. And it's kind of funny and creepy at the same time. And she's had like 15, 20 million views of this thing. So much so that she was able to quit her part-time job and just live off of the revenue she's making from a couple of videos on YouTube and all of the stuff that's kind of built out. And CNN had a great story about how she's also taking this audience that she's built and raising money for some of the charities around her area where she lives and goes to school. So I thought that was kind of nice.
Stalkers United.
Yep, Stalkers United. Taking yet 15 minutes of fame and making some money. Goldie, Gangnam Style, 800 million views.
The number one video.
You know what? I'm going to say that I actually had an opportunity to go watch him. He's going to be here with Carly J.
In your apartment?
Benson. No, yep. I wish, in my apartment. In the Bay Area.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. But I'm doing pre-production for a Christmas episode of one of my web series, and so it's literally the night before we shoot. And so I have this moral dilemma. Do I go watch Psy, or do I do pre-production like a good producer?
Go watch Psy, because if you're a good producer, you'll have done all your pre-production.
Well, that would be cool. If you do go see him, you should tell us how he is in person. So,
yes.
I mean, I'm sure he had no idea, being a Korean pop star, that he would ever find so much success in the United States from just a YouTube video. It's pretty,
he was actually really famous already in Korea itself. So he's actually kind of a big star there, and so all the Korean people are like, well, of course. And now that he's transitioned over, he's very humble, which is very sweet, I think.
That's cool. So our last story of the week here, and this is something I found interesting, and something I've been thinking about locally here as well. YouTube is quietly launching a studio in Los Angeles. I don't know if
that's where the party was last night.
Oh, interesting. So it wasn't such a soft launch, because the rap says it was a soft launch, but I don't think you have a soft launch with a party.
You do in LA.
Oh, okay. See, around here you just kind of do it, and maybe somebody finds out about it. Basically what they're going to do is allow YouTube partners, and I would imagine you have to be partner status, not just one of the people that, like me, that gets a little bit of money every month. And they will let you use the studio for free to help produce your shows, which I think is a great idea. And I've often wondered if this might be a great pivot for all these cable access stations we have all over the country to maybe start offering studio space, maybe at a charge, for YouTube producers to have some better facilities to produce things in. Because I have this little studio in my basement I do some product review stuff and some other videos with, and I've got to time my my stuff in between the dishwasher running water down the pipes and the furnace going on. So
the funny thing is, though, right now, I mean, here's the dilemma. YouTube needs the production values to be higher so that they can get advertisers, because advertisers don't want to advertise on user-generated content. But
and why is that?
They don't.
Is it conservatism?
It's not TV. It's not TV.
So it doesn't look flashy enough for them that it's not.
It doesn't fit their brand. It's not appropriate. Like, I mean, you know, cats swinging on ceiling fans is not a good image for BMW cars. Like,
right.
They just don't go together.
Right.
The interesting thing that I think will be is, as they increase production value, will they lose viewers? Because the thing about YouTube videos is the authenticity of it. And once it starts getting fake, then it's like TV. Are people going to watch it? Are the eyeballs going to translate? And that's just part of the medium growing up. The other thing is, will we see more interactive programming? That's the one thing YouTube really has that TV doesn't, is the interactivity of YouTube and the immediacy of it.
Right, and that immediate feedback that they can gain from it. And and I'm glad you brought up the authenticity thing, because this is really something I've noticed directly. So I have a hyper-local video startup where we were doing very professional video production, and I'm not talking like cinema quality here, but this was for TV news level. It was a couple notches above what you'd see on cable access for covering local events and that kind of thing. Without fail, every time we produced something that we spent some time on, we would get a certain level of viewership. If we did just a quick one-hit off an iPhone or something, the viewership was through the roof on those items. And it drove me crazy, because like, here you have this vision and this dream for like, oh, we're going to do this professional stuff. We're going to bring this level of quality to a local level. And I can't get it watched. But if somebody whips out an iPhone and we just do a little thing with the iPhone and maybe notch the production quality up just a tad over what an 8-year-old could do, we get 3 or 4 times the viewership. And I've seen that with some of these product reviews I've been experimenting with. I've been doing tech reviews, and you can go to my little website called lawnreviewstech.com. I do these for Amazon. It's a long story, but the funniest thing is the amount of time I spend on the video is directly proportional to the number of viewers I get. So if I spend an hour on something, I get a certain level of viewership that's actually surprising. If I spend 2 or 3 hours producing it, I get nothing. And it's without fail. And I think there is some degree of authenticity. People want to see this thing as it really is in my hand.
You want to see this shaky camera,
yeah,
as we're filming this.
And my revenue on this stuff, it's like, and I'm strictly doing YouTube now just because it's all search engine optimized, and a lot of it is actually search engine within YouTube's stream. I'm getting recommended as a video to watch when people are searching for other stuff, and I'm making $100 a month doing that.
So am I hearing that you're crying in the back of a BMW right now, Mom?
I'm sobbing immensely because...
Yeah, you need to get happy with the back of a bicycle.
Yeah, you need to get happy on the back of a bike a lot.
Yeah,
stop being so high maintenance.
That's exactly what it is.
But the government's going to come in and shut you down.
It's going to shut me down. Well, I'll tell you what. I have to put it. I'm going to have a form to file this year because the revenue's actually been pretty good on some of these things. So
you're breaking 500. You're breaking 600 $600, man.
I'm telling you, I've made it. And it's funny though, it turns a hobby into something a little bit more. And you know, again, it's been shocking to me, really, just how. And it's not like I'm producing crap here. I mean, I'm trying to tell a good story and trying to be very concise in how I present what I'm reviewing. But it's been really intriguing to me that people have a different expectation level, and I wonder if this is going to create a collision between what an advertiser wants and what YouTube's able to provide. What do you think, Tim?
Don't know.
We'll find out.
It will play out over time.
It sure will. So we've got some stuff to talk about. Topic of the week, and I'm looking forward to hearing from both of you on that. The app of the week. This week I have it's kind of an app. It's called Google Two-Step Authentication. Sounds kind of geeky. Do you use it?
No, what is it? Never heard of it.
How about you, Goldie? Do you use two-step authentication?
I do use two-step authentication.
Oh, now I know what it is. Now
do
I know
you
what
use
it
it, Tim? I use it with when I use it specifically with the special codes that you can put in, and so Lon, you're going to explain this a lot better than me, so go ahead and take it. One of my
videos this week is you can go to cttechjunkie.com where I do some technology reporting. It is I have a whole how-to on this thing, but here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that you really shouldn't protect your account with just a password anymore. So if you think about it, like your whole life now, I've got 8 years.
You want bodyguards.
You want bodyguards, and most of us are not big Hollywood stars. We can't afford the bodyguards. But
Speak
Google,
for yourself, Lon.
There you go.
Yeah, yours are off camera, but you can go to Google and have a virtual bodyguard in a sense, and that is adding a layer of security that goes beyond just your password. So once you set this thing up and you type your password in, it then says, okay, your password's good, but I need a code number. And the code number comes from an app called the Google Authenticator app that you run on your phone. It runs on iPhone, on Android, on even on BlackBerry.
What's your code, Mom?
My code changes every 30 seconds, so you'll never know.
Wow.
I can give you one, and it'll be useless in 30 seconds. So what's cool is that these codes cycle, and unless you have, or whoever's trying to hack you has your phone, they really can't get in unless they're like some super, uber, really good hacker. And it's a very simple thing to set up. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it because we have applications that interface with YouTube, so you have to set up some special passwords for that. But it gives you a lot more control over who can access your account, and hopefully it's just you, and what can access your account and what you authorize to access the account.
I was surprised that there's no cross-marketing between, if you guys have watched Skyfall, and Google Authenticator. Wouldn't that be some interesting cross-marketing?
It'd be great cross-marketing. And I think part of the problem they've had in marketing this to people is, certainly not a default thing, is that it is a bit complicated to set up. So I have a video. You can check it out at cttechjunkie.com. It'll give you the whole breakdown of how to set it up. But once you get it going, it works fantastically. You can actually set up a trusted computer thing so you don't get bugged for the code every time you log in. But when you think about how much stuff is behind our individual Google accounts, I have email going back 8 years. I've got my YouTube account, which is now making me, enough money to pay for my lattes. It's a really important budget item in my life. And my AdSense account, my AdWords, all that stuff is all tied to a single password. It's really something you should protect. So check it out. The cool thing with Authenticator, the app, is that there are other services now using Google's code generating app to get you into stuff. So Dropbox now works with it. LastPass, which is a password management system I use, works with it. So it's becoming kind of a standard of additional security, and it protects all of your proprietary stuff. So that is my app of the week.
Very cool.
Cool. So now we've got a few minutes left here, and the moment everyone's been waiting for. We have with us, I think, probably the pioneer of marketing multimedia independent ebooks, and that is Mr. Tim Street.
Wow.
He's looking around.
I don't know, man.
You are ahead of the curve on this. So, we wanted to check in and see how your book is doing, and then, people got video content. This is a great way to monetize it. So what are some of the things you've learned?
Well, one of the big things that I've learned is, first of all, you need to have a relationship with Apple so that they feature your book, and that's a tough one to come by. I don't have any tips on how you get that. I mean, mine come from doing podcasting, and the guys that used to do podcasting are now over in the ebook space. So that's kind of my connection there. I guess the go to book shows. There's a big book fair in New York. There's one going on in Guatemala. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Guadalajara right now. There's the Berlin one. There's a London one. Wherever you are, try to find out when a big book show is coming to your neighborhood, and go to that, make friends, and try to learn from the community. Take a look at what people are doing. Look at the key art that people are using for their books. Instead of it being a book that you hold in your hand now, it's just a tiny postage stamp sized image. So you've got to create something that if someone's never heard of your book, they need to be able to look at that postage stamp and get an idea of what the book is about. If you look at the top books that are out right now, usually the biggest thing on them is the author's name. Like this week, number one is Michael Connelly, and Michael Connelly is a thriller writer that used to be an LA Times reporter, and he's written all these great books. I actually worked with him on a show for UPN. He was doing a show, and we did some creepy stuff, some weird websites back in, I want to say 2000, for his show. But he's a big thing. 50 Shades of Grey, that book and that series of books really became popular. And if you look at that, there's 3 books there, and those books are used to promote the other books. So if you have a hit, or if you build an audience with one book, you're going to get more people to your second book. And I think that's really key. I'm working on a new book now, and the strategy that I'm looking at and investigating, what really seems to make sense, is to do a book that's similar but different and give that book away for free. But in that book that you're giving away for free, link to the new book that you're charging money for. And to me, without a doubt, that seems to be the best option for an independent author. So you sign up for, whether you're going to sell your book on Apple or on Amazon or on Google Play, you can give away a free book or a low-cost book. It depends on what makes economic sense, because Amazon does charge you for the download of your books. So you want to make sure that you're not exposed there and have to pay Amazon a lot of money.
Really? That's for free books or all books?
Any books.
Really?
Amazon charges you for the data transfer. So,
no kidding. So if you've got a book like Vids, which is your first book that came out,
you don't want to give that one away. There's
so how do you price a book then? I would guess Amazon might have to cost you more, right? Because
you've got to do the math. You've got to figure out what the data charges are and do your homework and figure out if it's going to make sense to. But Amazon wants you to charge. They're very reluctant. So is Google. They want you to charge as well. Whereas Apple, it's about selling the devices. So the more free books there are, the better it is for people who've bought an iPad or an iPad mini. So free books are great in the Apple world. And I think if you want to dip your toe in the water into this space and see if you can build an audience, the best place to start, especially if you're going to have video in your book, is Apple, because you can use iBook Author, which is really easy to use. It's similar to Keynote if you're an Apple Keynote user. So you'll feel right at home. You'll be able to drag and drop stuff into a piece of cake and design a really nice looking book and then publish it to the iBook store, and you'll be able to get it out there yourself without a lot of heavy lifting. Whereas Amazon right now, I mean, it's coming along, but the devices aren't as video friendly. I mean, not every Kindle plays video, whereas every iPad does play video. So I think that's the way to go.
So start with Apple, and we'll see where Amazon. I would imagine
see where everything else develops.
I would imagine Amazon's got to change a little bit over time here, and I think the challenge with Amazon now too is that Kindle is on so many different devices, like as you said. So I would never expect video to play on my Kindle with the e-paper display.
Right.
But if I have Kindle on my iPad, it might work, but I would imagine it's a challenge for Amazon to program things to work the same across all these different devices, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of funky, weird, and it's still working itself out. Now, the other thing that's happening in the iBook space is that movies and TV shows are creating free ebooks to promote their movie or TV show, and they're giving those books away. Now, that might be very tempting to a web video producer. Oh, wow, I'll make an ebook and it'll promote my video. That's great. Just make sure that there's some kind of revenue stream attached somewhere. Make sure there's one cash register set up someplace before you start giving away all your content for free, because you're not going to be able to get that genie back in the bottle once you give it away for free.
And if I've got an ebook, maybe something that has content that I want to update on a regular basis, are there ways to update my ebook after I've published it?
You can update your ebook. It's not really set up like a magazine, and so I haven't really looked into Apple's Rackspace, I think it's called, or MagRack. I forget what it's called, but it's like their bookshelf for magazines.
Oh, the newsstand.
Newsstand,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah. That's a little more set up for content that's periodical. Whereas a book, you are allowed to update it. You can do new versions of it. It's just going to kind of wear thin because you do have to contact your Apple rep and deal with them, and because they allow you to upload your book and then it's kind of locked down for a little bit. So you have to like resubmit and update, and then they take a look at it. And I would imagine they get a little tired of you doing that after a while.
So that could,
if you're doing it every week.
Right, so you may want to just make a new book when the time comes. So
yeah.
That's some pretty helpful stuff there.
Let's say that you put out a book and then you have a second book come out and you want that first book to drive people, so you can do a second version of that first book and upload that to drive people to your second book, which I highly recommend.
So you could say, hey, if you like this book, go check this one out. And is there a way to? Would you just make another page or something? How do you?
Yeah, you can make another page, and you can put that page right at the beginning of your book as well. It doesn't have to be at the end. So you could market your new book in your old book right on the first page.
So it's mind blowing. You can change the book after it's been published. It's pretty, pretty.
Look out, cool. George Lucas.
You could definitely do that. So that's some helpful information, because it's something I think a lot of video producers don't think about, that you can do a book. And Tim, are there ways to connect to online video without having to embed the video in the book itself?
Yeah, you can link directly to a video. But it doesn't work when you're not connected to the internet.
Right. So if you're on a plane or something, you're out of luck.
Yeah, that's really what I mean, for some people that's fine. It also takes you out of the book. So it will, you click on a link, it will ask you, do you want to launch the Safari browser and go to this website? And then you hit OK. It takes you out of iBook and takes you to Safari. It takes you to YouTube, and you watch the video. Now, how do you get back to the book? You have to start all over. It's just not a great user experience at this point in time. Now, that could change somehow over time, but right now it's not a great reading experience. And a lot of times people as video producers are like, "Oh, I'm not really a writer. I don't want to write a book." Well, there are coffee table books that are full of photos and not a lot of text. So, don't count yourself out. Just because you're a visual artist.
And let me ask you: is there a market for photo books and things? So people
some
are buying
of the top free books are photo-driven books. They're photography books. So, it just depends on how creative you are at packaging and what you can come up with.
I'll have to check those out, because I have a ton of photos that I've had the fortunate opportunity to be at a bunch of really cool news events over the last couple of years, and have some photos that I know nobody else has. So maybe I'll try messing around with that a little bit. So Goldie, are you going to do an ebook, Goldie?
I don't think so at this point in time. It's
a time-consuming thing, right?
It is a time-consuming thing, but I do agree with Tim that if you are worried that you don't have the writing ability to do it, but you have all these visual pieces, that you should go ahead and still try to put something together anyways, because because I think that the barrier to entry is still pretty low right now. And it feels a little bit like YouTube in the early days. So it's a good time to kind of get a product out and just get it out into the space and see what happens. And I actually think that it might take less time than making a whole season of a web series. So.
Right, that's true. There is definitely that there. I just think it's neat. This iBooks author thing I've downloaded. It is a lot like Keynote, and it's so easy to get started. And if you think about it, it's just it's kind of mind-boggling that you've got not only this great software, but an install base of tens of millions of devices all over the world that you can pitch your book to. And even if you get even 0.5% of that, it's significant. So don't discount it, and don't discount your book either. Sell it. So that's some great tips from Mr. Street, the guru of ebooks. So Tim, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on One Tim Street at Twitter.
And Goldie, where can people find you?
People can always find me at Goldie Chan on Twitter.
And I am Lon Seidman. You can find me at lonseiban.com. We are at the end of our show, but we will be recording. We usually record this every Thursday morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, although next week we're going to have a different schedule, which we will let you know about, and you can find all out about that by following one of us on Twitter or on Google+, and we will fill you in on that. We're also going to, it's on my list, Tim, for the next couple weeks here, try to get our website up and running at behindthevideo.com. I've been in there messing around on.
I think we lost Lon.
I think we lost Lon, and he got so excited that the internet connection couldn't contain his excitement. But I think that he's launching the Behind the Video website, it sounds like, right, Tim?
Yeah, behindthevideo.com. We've had the URL for a long time, just not long enough.
Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.